We will tell people about this dish forever.
This is John Shields in a dish.
Smyth, Chef John Shields, and Karen Yuri Shields.
Welcome to America's newest 3 Michelin-starred restaurant. This meal exceeded our expectations with bold creativity and dishes composed with a precision that challenges the norms of fine dining. Join us as we take you through this unique and brilliantly creative menu. This is Restaurant Smyth, and we're in Chicago. Let's dive in. Walking into Smyth, you know you're in for something special.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope you guys have a blast tonight.
This isn't your typical fine dining. It's laid back with warm wood tones and an open kitchen that invites you to peek into the action. The ambiance is relaxed, almost like you've stepped into a friend's upscale loft, where every detail is considered but nothing is overdone.
Get started, a little amazake.
To start, Matt welcomes us with an amazake, a traditional Japanese drink from fermented rice, here using melon, rice koji, mami sapote, and cucumber notes. Ooh, refreshing and melon heavy.
You get a bit of the green aromatics when you put your face up to the glass. Really great.
Up next, oysters sitting in a lemon leaf and scallops in its roe cured in melon.
Squeeze a little bit of that pink lemon right on top. They've been cured in a little bit of melon shio koji, as well as the scallop.
This is a good meal.
I would say the first bite tells the story.
Beautiful. They're juicy, they're sweet, and then you get this beautiful aromatics off of the lemon leaves.
And the scallop is just such a subtle preparation. I just feel like that may be a theme. More, please.
Smyth offers 2 tasting menus and 2 pairings. We had their chef's menu and their super mega pairing of old vintages and special finds. Our first pairing was champagne, Vincent Couche 2002.
Sheet-ready characteristic. It's also really nutty because of that age process, ripe and round, but it's still bright.
The next set of bites started with a quail egg, poached and cured in black walnut reduction for 12 hours. Tastes like you're eating an eggshell. It's so fragile and light. Beautiful texture.
This we wrap some freshly starched shoots with some soft sea lettuce and then crispy sea lettuce to kind of create this like pseudo eggshell.
Okay, if you didn't know that was an egg, you wouldn't guess.
Then came the sourdough waffle with black truffle and wild rice koji cheese.
There's a little bit of pine cone jam, milk skin, then on top is a buckwheat keel.
You're never gonna eat this anywhere else. Crunchy Stilton cheese waffle. Pretty subtle truffle, and then just vinegar.
Corn donut here for you. Corn pudding on the inside. Toffee is made from fermented corn.
Perfect savory sweet donut. You just get aftertones of corn and sugar. You 12 of those.
At this point, we're feeling pretty good. Everything has been a 10 out of 10. And the service is on par. Friendly, knowledgeable, and clearly loving what they do. The pairing for the next 2 bites was 2021 Antikythera, briny acidity and lemony fruit, paired with a duet of crab. The first served chilled with jackfruit, fermented coconut, and at the bottom,
Cream made from meme sapote, finished with some kombu chips.
part 2, a play on similar ingredients, crab and lobster custard, hazelnut oil, and more mame sapote. Chef John Shields isn't just a chef, he's an artist. His style blends the unexpected with the familiar, using top-tier ingredients to create dishes that surprise without feeling overworked. We're also noticing a recurring tropical and oceanic notes, which Chef John mentions as an ode to the flavors of his childhood.
We started using a lot of tropical fruits this past year. I grew up in Tampa. I'm not bragging for sure, but starting to bring some of that childhood flavors back.
You get oyster, you get charred tomato, you get fresh tomato, little sea buckthorn in the background, bit of sugar.
Immediately for me, what I got was overwhelming amount of beautiful guava, so fresh, so intense. And then you get this like familiar taste of a habanero pepper.
So how do you make tomatoes smell like oyster but taste like guava? We have to find out.
Earlier this week, Chef John was like, I really want to take the tomato in the direction of like being on a beach in Mexico.
So it starts off pretty like aggressive and salty and nutty, and then fades with like a really kind of like bright floral, salty, kind of like high acid crescendo of the finish. And if we get it right, it makes really interesting feedback to the dish where it kind of turns up the volume on both the wine and the caviar.
This is golden no citra. Very bottom of the bowl, you'll find some freshly pressed English walnut oil and some Marcona almond milk. Young green almond pieces with a little bit of butter. That's got almond miso, a little bit of hazelnut oil, and a touch of rose. And on top of the caviar, we made a little bit of nocino last year.
This is for some inexplicable reason one of my favorite dishes of the year. I don't even know why. Like anybody that looked at this would be like, dude, there's nothing in your bowl. If you ate this, you would understand.
It takes a second for you to process everything that's going on, but it all works so well together and it's fatty and rich and silky and decadent and beautiful. And we will tell people about this dish forever.
This is a producer called Jacob Truffle. In 2019, a Riesling from them. Really explosive on the palate. You're going to get a little bit of skin contact, so it's got a little bit of texture, but I think this is really fun. Serves to heighten a lot of very similar flavors coming up.
This avocado is from some friends of ours, though, in California, San Gabriel Farm, with an ice of cucumber, milk of peanut, and Oysanta leaf, which is kind of like a root beer flavor, and then pistachio glaze on the top, so like a little salad.
You get a pop of finger lime, you get cream, you get peanut. Why would you put an avocado on top of it with pistachio? That doesn't make any sense. But it works very, very well because it's the only part of the dish that's like an actual vehicle for the sauce. Just like this is John Shields in the dish.
Cuvee called Columba. It has like a real sense of like verve and buoyancy and liveliness to it. Super complex aromatically, pretty like light and high tone and kind of like feather-footed on the palate.
Are you listening to this guy's descriptions? I'm loving it. It's like poetry.
The main courses started with Maine lobster. Paired with Habana pepper and guava was a sweet and spicy combination, the lobster's richness playing off the fruit's tropical notes.
Beeswax, fire, and caramel.
It's really vervy. It's got a lot of this like layered elegance and complexity. It's kind of what he's known for. These really like rustic examples with like a lot of depth behind it.
The trout, served with mushrooms and kelp, had a deep earthy flavor, with the Carolina gold rice adding a subtle nuttiness.
Rich umami mushroom and just a little crunch of kelp. The rice is almost a polenta, soft but not mushy.
2011, kind of like a savory vintage, I think, overshadowed a bit by 10 and 12, and the 11s have like a really interesting kind of like high tone trebly streak. It also has like a pretty cool, almost like licoricey quality that I think is fun with the sauce on the next dish.
The lamb was served in two parts, a sweetbread sausage and a dry-aged rack. It was robust and hearty, with a hint of umami coming from the maitake mushrooms and a touch of sweetness from the lamb's toffee. The accompanying Japanese milk bread mitsu brioche was glistening in veal glaze and was a perfect sponge for the dish, with a side of lamb andouille heart sausage.
Baron Austin from 2010. Good amount of residual sugar here, not a ton of alcohol, but 2010 was kind of cold and kind of wet. A ton of acidity and like really interesting kind of like diffuse profile to this. It's still like concentrated, sweet, tropical, like really like extroverted wine, but it has like a really interesting like almost like mentholated cooling property.
Now it's time for the final acts that don't disappoint. Firstly, the pre-dessert. This palate cleanser was a masterpiece.
Bottom we have candied melons, lemon verbena ice, a garden licorice made from the herbs upstairs, with a buttermilk whey sorbet, and finish off with spruce soda.
They took textures here to the extreme. Very, very crunchy shard of ice. Cold, sticky, sweet.
Wine coming from Alsace in France, so that this is their Noble Grot selection from Pineburn. Perfect growing conditions here. 1993 is also like a really like robust vintage, overripe banana richness that I think is really compelling. With this next course kind of taps into these more savory flavors.
A dessert made from no actual bananas, just its skin turned into an oil to make the custard.
Dressed over the top with black walnut glacés and dehydrated kombu chips attached on top of that custard. And what's very dark in color, starting at the base going off to the side, is kombu seaweed that's been candied in pine cone and gooseberry syrup.
How am I going to describe that to you all? So they take the bananas and age them until the peels go black, and then they ferment them. And then they use the skins as a mold. There's two types of seaweed. One is dehydrated, and they turn it into little chips. And then the flat one is candy, and so that adds, well, candy.
So essentially, the flavor profiles here are supposed to be banana and seaweed. It worked so well together. Very mild custard of banana flavor, and you're also not getting much seaweed flavor at all. More of like a textural element of just like candied gummy seaweed, a little bit of crunchy cocoa nibs, random, beautiful, loved it.
To beat our spruce pine cones, they have a spruce blueberry ganache of braised pine cone in the center. And it's wrapped in milk chocolate and some spruce white chocolate spray. A sunflower praline tart. It has sunflower praline, honey custard, saffron vanilla wax.
Final thoughts? Chef John Shields and his team have created an entirely unique and contemporary take on modern fine dining that you won't find anywhere else. We don't doubt this meal will make it to our top 10 of the year. Thanks for watching.